Good evening, folks, and a very, very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. Thank you for joining us on DinamoTV, the official podcast of the St. Albans Dinamo Football Club. Folks, it is episode 5, and my name is Thurs Prulsats. I am your host for tonight. I'm really looking forward to tonight's show. It is going to be a jam-packed show, let me tell you this. And I tell you what, we've got some new innovations this week. We've got a Player of the Week award that is going to be handed down each week to the best player for the Dinamo senior team in the NPL Victoria competition, as judged by the coaching staff and the management staff of the seniors. We've also got a new segment called the Meet the Team segment, and each week we'll be looking at a junior team from within our club, and we'll put the spotlight on them. Tonight, it's all about the under-14 boys junior NPL team. They will be the ones that will be taking centre stage. We've got some exclusive behind-the-scenes footage of the boys at training, and also a very, very special message to all of you who are tuning in to DinamoTV. Got a recap of the weekend's round of matches, both in the junior NPL boys competition, and also it was the season opener for the senior men's and the under-23s. We'll find out all about how they went on the weekend, and we've also got some footage of that as well. And we're also going to have a very, very two special guests tonight. The Player of the Week will be joining us, so we'll be announcing very shortly, folks, who the inaugural winner of the Dinamo Player of the Week award is. And we'll also be speaking to the coach of the boys under-14 junior NPL team, SONNY Pegorin. He'll be joining us as well as part of that Meet the Team club or team focus. Folks, don't go away. We're going to be back very, very shortly with tonight's news desk. And like I said, there's a lot happening. And by the way, this Sunday, all roads lead to Churchill Reserve because it's the first home game of the season for the senior men's NPL team. And also, the junior NPL boys will all be at home as well. So it's going to be a big action-packed weekend coming up. Don't go away.
The IMD Group is regarded as one of the largest deliverers of concrete structure solutions in Victoria. Formed in 1994 by Ivan and Kathy Filipovic, their passion and commitment to getting the job done safely and economically has underpinned their success in the industry. IMD partners with large-scale building and construction companies in both the private and public sectors on projects large and small. With our corporate headquarters based in South Melbourne and storage yard based in the southeast suburbs, we have at our disposal thousands of square metres of quality materials, along with state-of-the-art lifting and crane equipment, enabling us to deliver the largest projects. We are committed to delivering high-quality projects by partnering with our clients and collaborating with project suppliers to ensure each job is delivered to exceed expectations. From humble beginnings, IMD now employs more than 1,200 dedicated professional and support staff, involved in a number of landmark projects right across Victoria. The IMD Group is a massive supporter of the Croatian community, backed soccer clubs in Victoria, and is proud to be the major sponsor of the St. Albans Dinamo Football Club in 2024.
Welcome back. It's the news desk, and we've got a new jingle as well. It's all happening here at DinamoTV, folks, and we're only 5 episodes in. So big cheerio to everyone who is tuning in tonight. In the comment section, pop it down. Where are you tuning in from? We'd love to hear something from the interstate viewers or maybe international viewers. But indeed, whichever part of Melbourne or Victoria, indeed, you're listening to, pop it down in the chat section. We might even make you famous and read out your comment. But let's turn our attention first of all to round 1 of the NPL competition this week. And if we turn our attention straight away, that is the scoreline 0-0 against the Port Melbourne Sharks last Saturday night at SS Anderson Oval. And that's how the team first started. the starting lineup. But let's now go to the highlights, and we've also got some of the post-match comments as well. And as we can see, that was the starting lineup. We had Keranovic, Dib, Gerez, Summerskill, Monek, Razumic, Cholina, Captain Grgic, Divin, King, and Rico Bene in the starting lineup. The first half didn't really show much for either side. It was a very even sort of an affair. There weren't too many shots on goal from either end. There was one of the rare ones from Dinamo, Brian Summerskill, there in the 38th minute. We did manage to get a lot of corners on the board, that's for sure. 4 corners in total.
Kick. Looked like it was
in the second half,
who was on the far post.
We had a couple of opportunities, and here's one of them.
Game. Players marking the post, but
nice goal kick clearance from Keranovic.
Keranovic, but once again on the counter attack, St Albans. This is their route to goal. The ball in by Alan Jerez, and it was a good run through the lines. Brian Summerskill making that run beyond the striker, timing it very well. The ball didn't make it to his outstretched feet to trouble Ilya.
Even at that stage, Port Melbourne Sharks had double the shots on target to Dinamo. And in the last 15 or so minutes, the Sharks were just ruthless, constantly attacking Dinamo's goals. But the Dinamo defence stood resolute. And it was a fantastic performance by JASKO Keranovic, the goalkeeper, who, fair income, saved us on several occasions. But it was a very disciplined, very controlled performance by the Dinamo defence. The midfield came back and helped on many occasions. And in the end, Dinamo was able to hold out for a 0-0 draw. And the first points of the season, a draw on the road. As we can see, stoppage time now. Port Melbourne peppering the goals, but thankfully to no avail. The under-23s also did well. They drew 2-2 in their game immediately after this performance. And there was still time for one last attempt to score that all elusive goal by Port Melbourne Sharks. But once again, the Dinamo defence stood firm and very resolute, and they didn't let anything get past them on the day. Big shout out to Steve Curtin, who was one of the co-commentators on the night, who's one of my co-hosts on the Football Out West show. And there we go, full-time Port Melbourne 0, St Albans 0.
To be honest, I'm probably happy with the point. It's a game that we identified as a game that we could come and try and get 3 points, and it was a game we were definitely coming for 3 points to try and win. But in the end, I think they probably, first half it was pretty even, second half I think they maybe just shaded it. So yeah, we'll take a point. We showed a lot of resilience in that second half, and we battled right till the end of the game. So yeah, I'm happy with the point.
A few players missing today.
Yeah, there was Scott Bacall's international clearance never came through, and Zelfi had an injury at work, I think it was.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was a bit disappointing. It kind of, but the other things you've got to deal with as a manager, you've got to deal with them, and you've got to be versatile to cope. And we've got a good, strong squad that we've got players ready to come in. And yeah, I've got no problem with that. Obviously, Scott's a quality player for us and big player, but yeah, we've got strength and depth this year, which is pleasing.
Next week, the Avondale. How do you think we'll go?
Well, it's like there's no surprises. Avondale are a good side. They like to keep the ball, they move the ball, they've got pace in wide areas. So there's no real surprises there. We know what we're going to get. I've watched them a couple of times, so yeah, we just got to make sure we're up for the task. We show the resilience that we showed today, and we can get something out of the game.
Busy game. I thought I did all right, I guess. Some would say I did too much, but no, we got there in the end. It was a tough game. Not the result I'd say we wanted, but we'll take the draw.
Yeah, no, pressure was definitely on, yeah. So you pulled off a couple of good saves, which was awesome. So well done, yeah. You know, Port away, it's a tough gig, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Even the weather was a killer for the boys. Everyone was battling it out. You could tell the last 15 minutes, the tiredness was coming in.
Great game. Well done, yeah. Great game. Next week, every game's a tough one, yeah. But Avondale's a big one. Yep.
Everyone's up for it. There's not a game we're not up for. It's something we should win as well. We all look positive, and it's a definite better improvement from last year.
Awesome.
Better squad.
Awesome. Well done, Jasko. Thank you, mate.
There we go. The 19 shots in total to the for the Sharks, as opposed to the Dynamo's 5. 8 shots on target to just 3 for Dinamo. But we had 9 corners. They had 10. We also had 6 offsides and they had 1. So there are the post-match statistics. If we take a look at the ladder now, after round 1, and if we go through some of the score, or we'll go through all the scores, South Melbourne defeated the Melbourne Knights just by 1-0 on Thursday night at Lakeside Stadium. So good performance there by our sister club. Green Gully 1 against Moreland City 0. Oakley Cannons 3, defeating the newly promoted Manningham United Blues 0. On Saturday, Avondale defeated Dandenong City 4-3. But it was a great comeback by our other sister club, Dandenong City, the newly promoted Dandy City. They scored 2 late goals to almost give Avondale a bit of a heart attack. But they've certainly softened them up in time for this weekend's clash when we host them at Churchill Reserve. Altona Magic went down to Heidelberg United 1-0 at Paisley Park. And last but certainly not least, at George Andrews Reserve, Dandenong Thunder also went down to the away team, Hume City, 2-1. So Dinamo at the moment in 7th position, just outside the so-called top 6, if you like. If that's right. Then we're going to look at next week's or this weekend's fixture. There it is. Dinamo hosting the reigning champions on Sunday at Churchill Reserve. Kickoff times the under-23s at 12:30, followed by the seniors at 3 p.m. Now, a document was released during the week on social media, and it explained the promotion relegation rules for this year. In fact, Football Victoria came out with this just prior to the kickoff of the new NPL season. But the interesting one, I guess, there is 10.11.2. Paragraph C, the club finishing in the bottom position on the ladder at the end of the NPL men's senior regular season, not including the National Second Division clubs, that is Avondale and South Melbourne, at this stage, may be relegated. So at the moment, according to that document, it says that only one club will be relegated at the completion of the 2024 season. If we look at the under-23s ladder, Dinamo drew 1-1. Did I say 2-2? They drew 1-1 against Port Melbourne. So there's about 8 teams there, all on 1 point at the moment in the under-23s. So well done to the 23s. They did very, very well on that occasion. We're going to, what else? Oh, Churchill Reserve is undergoing a little bit of a makeup, if you like, in time for this coming Sunday game. So club officials were working overtime last night, getting the ground in readiness, putting up the sponsorship boards, new sponsorship signings, and absolutely Churchill Reserve looks an absolute treat at the moment. And all is in readiness for what should be a massive, massive game on Saturday, or series of games, as we said. The junior NPL are also going to be playing on Sunday. So if we go through the results and the results, first of all the junior NPL games, the boys' junior NPL games played over the weekend, 3 out of 4. Ain't bad. The boys travelled up to Ballarat City to the fantastic regional football facility there. It was stinking hot, but they came back with 3 wins and 1 loss. The 14s, goals by Amin Elias, James Tabakis, and Christian Pete, a 3-2 win over Ballarat City. The under-15s recorded a convincing 5-2 win over their counterparts. Maxim Mikulic, Marko Mioc, Reece Basanko 2, and Dylan Basanko getting amongst the goal scorers. The under-16s, a 2-0 win courtesy of goals by Stephen Reicher and Max Wojtek. And unfortunately, the under-18s couldn't make it a clean sweep. They did win last week, and they were the only team to win last week. And this week, they were the only team to lose. So Thomas Smolko scored for the under-18s. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get a clean sweep, maybe this weekend. There are the ladders for the under-14s and the under-15s at the moment. Both those teams, if the competition standings stayed like this until the end of the gradings, would find themselves in Division 2. And then the 16s and the 18s there. The 16s currently in 7th position. The 18s currently in 5th position. The other night, on Wednesday night also, there was a Mini Roos coaches meeting, or Mini Roos meeting, I should say. It was attended by a lot, not just the coaches, parents and interested persons there, and full house there, as you can see. Lots of very important information was disseminated to everyone, and it is great to see that all elements of the club are at the moment really, very active, and that is great to see. So that's fantastic to see. Folks, we're going to take a very short break. When we return, we're going to have a premiere of our new segment called Meet the Team. And as we said, this week's team is the under-14 boys junior NPL team. Following that, we'll be speaking to their coach, SONNY PEGORIN, and he'll be telling us all about that win on the weekend up in Ballarat. Folks, don't go away. You are tuning into DinamoTV.
Hey, the Brad's supposed to be the fullback.
Okay, here we have one of our under-14 superstars, Lucas Burke. Lucas, tell us, what do you like most at St Albans Dinamo Football Club?
The people, they're very nice and good.
Yeah, and who's the biggest practical joker in the under-14s team, you think? Harvey Turk. And also, what about training? Do you love training, or do you just love turning up on a Sunday and having a game?
I love both. They're really good because you get to play and you get to be with your mates.
Very good. How do you think we'll go this year in the under-14s, first year in the NPL?
I reckon we'll go good. We've got a good team. Let's just hope we can do well.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Lucas.
There you go. That was DinamoTV's encore production of the Meet the Team, the under-14 boys junior NPL team. And a big shout out to the producer and the cameraman, Mr. Ante Smolic, who did all the behind-the-scenes work. And it is my absolute pleasure now to welcome to DinamoTV none other than their coach, SONNY PEGORIN. SONNY, welcome to DinamoTV. How are you?
Thank you. Yeah, good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great win on the weekend. Fantastic result after a bit of a hiccup in round one. But tell us about the weekend just gone by up in Ballarat. Very, very hot conditions.
Yeah, it was very hot. The kids did well. It was tale of two halves, as always, and we knew that was going to happen. So, and going up to Ballarat's probably a hard task for the East 14s anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It was a new experience, going to Ballarat. So, look, they fought hard and got the three points. So, I'm really happy with it.
Oh, well done. No, that was a great performance, and you must be very proud of the boys there. It's a very professional production. Well done, Mr. Smallage there. But it's just part of, I guess, what we're trying to do here at DinamoTV and the club is give everyone that bit of publicity and to really put them in the spotlight and just say this is some of the great work that's being done behind the scenes. Now, speaking behind the scenes, it's not just you obviously involved there. You've got assistant coaches and team managers and parents that help out. Who's part of your little team there at the under 14s?
Well, as you said, we've got Smolik as our team manager. We've also got Ian Burke as our assistant, but he's also our 23s assistant. So he gives us a hand pretty much all week. And look, the parents all put in. That's the good thing about being at Dinamo. The families always help out. It's a great club to actually coach. To coach. So I'm really privileged.
Yeah. If we have a look at the ladder there, the under 14s ladder at the moment in 6th position. You come up against Avondale not Avondale, it's George Cross this weekend. And they've had one draw and one loss. Do we know much about George Cross at all?
Yeah, look, we played them in the Diamond Cup about 3 weeks ago. So we drew 0-0. It was a good game. It was pretty much like Ballarat, two halves. We drew 0-0, but I think we were missing a couple of players that day, and we didn't have our goalkeeper either, so it made it a bit hard. But look, we're up for the challenge. We've trained hard this week, so we've implemented a couple of things that we want to do on the weekend. So I hope we get the points.
Yeah, there's the fixtures for this weekend. Under 14s get the ball rolling at 9:30 against George Cross. Then the under 15s at 11:10. The under 16s at 1 o'clock, and the under 18s kicking off at 3 p.m. And that's all those games are on pitch 3, I believe. What a fantastic surface pitch 3 is at the moment. It is just absolutely unbelievable. And hopefully they won't be too distracted by looking at, particularly to the older boys, when they're looking at the seniors in the under 23s in action on pitch 1. But mate, let's first of all talk about you. Let's talk about the SONNY PEGORIN story. Where did you start playing football? And you've got an interesting story to tell about your coaching as well.
Yeah, look, I've played for pretty much most of my life. So going from a couple of state league clubs, so Moreland City, Bangor City, a lot of the English clubs, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they're pretty much like Dinamo. They've got a good tradition, yeah. They like having that kind of banter and all that family kind of stuff. So being at Dinamo has been pretty much like when I was playing there at Moreland and Banyul. So they've pretty much welcomed me with open arms. Yeah.
What is your background? Is it Pegorin? Is that how you say it? Pegorin?
It's Pegorin. It's Italian. Yeah,
it's Italian.
I'm on the Croatian border. My dad lives pretty much north. You can see Croatia from where I am anyway. So
around
you'll probably call me half Croatian if you
want. Absolutely. It's fantastic actually. Since we've started the program, we've had a couple of Italians, we've had a Maltese, we've had a Greek, we've had all sorts of nationalities on. So it's great to see. But mate, and then look, when did the playing career finish, and when did you kind of decide you wanted to be?
Look, I had a couple of bad injuries getting later on in my life. It might have been about 35, I think, and I thought my body was gone. So they said, "Do you want to coach?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, well," I think that's where my transition went into. So kind of went, okay, I think they might be pushing me going, I think you need to coach now. I think you've your body's gone. So probably now need to transition and now start to develop kids. So, yeah, so it would have been about 35, 36.
Yeah. And did you transition into junior coaching or assistant senior coaching, or were you thrown in at the deep end with seniors?
Yeah, no, I started at Moreland City in 2009. 2009 as their reserve reserve coach. So I did that for 3 years, won 2 titles. So it was pretty good. A bunch of kids. So we had a young team that half of those guys actually ended up playing senior football down the track. So it was good. And it's for me as a coach, that's what you want. Junior or senior football. You want to see those kids develop and move and play into a role of the senior football.
Yeah, and having that kind of, I guess that experience or coaching younger kids and watching them develop. And you talk to a lot of coaches, and they say that's probably the most fulfilling element of it, is when they can take a young player, mold him into something, and that they can sort of look back and say, look, they had a little bit of a hand in shaping him, and they've gone on to bigger and better things than what you're not. But is that what sort of whetted your appetite to sort of coach juniors or start coaching juniors?
Yeah, well, that was always my philosophy anyway. Doing a C license or a B license, they always ask you what your philosophy is.
Mm-hmm.
So my philosophy is developing kids, and I ask my kids in my group, this 14s group, where do you want to be in 5 years' time?
Yep.
You know what I mean? And they ask me that same question and go, what's your things that you like? And I said, look, I like going to see a senior game where I've seen 3 or 4 of these kids that I've coached play senior football. That gives me the benefit that I'm actually doing something, right for the game itself.
Yeah, yep. Now, in 2014, the NPL program started. So it's amazing. It's now 10 years now here in Victoria that the NPL program has started. There have been so many changes, both at senior level and at junior level. But you've been there from the start, Sonny. You've coached since the inception of the NPL in Victoria.
Yeah, look, I started at Bulleen. 2 years at Bulleen.
Mm-hmm.
Did the 18s and the 15s there, helped out the 15s as well. And then ended up going from there back to my old stomping ground at Moreland City for a couple of years, for 2 or 3 years, and did the 15s, 16s and 18s there. So I pretty much took the team for 3 years. And then from there went up to Williston Rangers for probably 4, and did pretty much the same thing, went 15s, 16s, and then COVID hit, and we had that year where everybody went back to 17s as well. So we did a year of the 17s and then 18s, and then went to Pascoe Vale last year, and then I'm here.
There you go.
It's been it's changed over the last 10 years, like going from just, playing 20 rounds to now having a pre-qualification and doing this. And I think it's a benefit for these kids to see how it's molded in the last 10 years. So doing this and getting something out of it at the end of the year is a good thing. So, it develops them as players and as human beings as well. Yeah.
Yeah, we're speaking with Sonny Pegorin, the St Albans Junior Boys NPL under-14s coach. That's an interesting point, that last one, about how it's evolved, particularly the junior program. What does Football Victoria say? You need to have a 40-week commitment thereabouts. So I suppose when you throw in pre-season of at least 6 to 8 weeks, and what you're not, maybe even longer, plus the 33-round season, you're almost 9 months of the year coaching, or you're a parent, or you're a player. As a coach, and you've already gone through this, I guess, once, like through last year. Is it too much? Is it not enough? How consuming is it on you as a coach, as a person?
It is consuming. It is, but look, I love the game. So look, it's for me, it's away from work. So it kind of gives me something else. It gives me something to look at after work and to actually, mellow out and do something that I enjoy.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. With the 40 weeks, look, when I played, it was only a 6 month year game. Now it's evolved and it's moved to a full-time gig where kids now need to make a decision. Are you going to play soccer or are you going to play another sport? So most of the kids in the last, probably since inception, have now started to say we've now got to emphasise with playing one sport and not playing 3 sports. So, and most of these kids now are starting going, I've got to make a commitment of a 40-week, year.
And what do you find? Do you find the majority of the kids, opt for soccer, or do, sort of half, a lot of them drop off? What have you found in your own experience?
Look, with the younger groups like the 14s, 15s, they're eager. They're always there every week. They want to kick the ball. You've seen in the promo that we had, they like to play and they like to have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
It's when I think it's as soon as they start to get older, it starts to change, and demographic changes as well. So it's just trying to keep them eager and making sure they still want to play. That's the biggest thing as a coach, trying to keep them aligned to play the game. Yeah, that's the hardest. If you keep them intrigued and engaged, you'll have them until they play senior football.
Your job's easy. I guess you don't. I suppose coaches like Mickey Pete, who's got the under-18s, he's got 17-year-olds who are now hormone-driven, and they've probably discovered the girls. They've discovered the bar and the boys. That's always a big distraction. So at this level, I guess it's not so bad, but nonetheless. This year, this is another thing. Last year, this team, this crop of players, predominantly played in the under-14 competition, the under-14 community league. Now, they're very young, and you told me off air earlier today that a lot of the kids are still, there's about half a dozen that can still play under-14 NPL next year. So obviously, a lot of them have gone on and played the 11v11 format 1 year in advance. How do you find that experience? Has that benefited these boys thinking more in the 11v11 as opposed to the 9v9 format?
Look, I think it's been good for them. Look, I did a 14s group last year, and it took a while for them to get going. So this year they're a bit ahead of where I expected them to be when I took it over in November. So, and like you said, we've got 7 kids that are 2009 babies, so they can play again next year if they want. So the club have given me a direction that we want to develop kids.
Yep.
So I'm happy for younger kids to be playing and get that experience. So if they do play 15s next year, fair enough. If they don't, we can play them 14s again.
Yep.
And they've got that experience of playing a big pitch. And then going back to what you said with the community, with those kids that have played community, it's been good for them, because when you play going from a mini ruse 9v9 on a half pitch, it's very hard to transition sometimes. So the club's done a really good thing with this community-based 14s team that I've picked up, or half of them, to play EPL. So it's kind of, the transition hasn't been as hard. Yeah.
Well, if there's anyone that's tuning in that is from another club, this is why having your kids either come to Dinamo or you come to Dinamo is one of the most positive things that you could probably do. Sonny, I think you've just done the best promo for why someone should be playing under 14s at Dinamo because of that philosophy. I mean, that's great to see the opportunities that are being given and offered to kids at Dinamo. But how do you see this season panning out? What realistically, what are your kind of aims? Do you want to finish in the top 3, i.e. Division 1 or the Division 2? Or like last year, I think Dinamo finished in Division 3 of the under 14 comp.
Yeah, look, I coached against them last year, so they did. But they ended up winning it. So it was a good thing for Mark as the 15s coach, to actually get something out of it. And look, going back that way, we've had some goals. We set some goals, and we'll halfway through the pre-qualifications, we'll know where we are. But we do want to play definitely Division 2. Like the first round we played Brimbank, and they'll be a Division 1 team. So and as you said, we did have we had a loss, but look, there was a couple other factors in that. But look, we're looking at Division 2. It's a minimum.
Yeah.
If we get Division 1, we'll be great. We'll be privileged to do that as well.
Yeah, if we do take a look at like that ladder, Brimbank actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in pretty much most of the competitions are in the top 3. Okay, we've only had 2 games so far, but they've either finished, they're in top spot or in second spot, so they definitely look like they will be a Division 1 side right across the board. So you've got your usual suspects. Green Gully are up there, Western United are up there. North Geelong a little bit slow, but they're up there. They did very well last year, the sister club as well. Do you think that this year's under 14 competition, obviously still early days yet, but do you think it's a lot tougher than it was last year?
Look, to be honest, this is my first year coaching in the West, so and I've had a look at the others, and usually it's been like the North or the East that's been pretty strong, but looking at it this year, I think the West is probably going to be the division to make the names and stuff like that. So that's going to be the hardest group, I reckon, to actually get into Division 1. So if you do get into Division 1, you'd probably be up there. So
there you go. Yep.
okay.
Excellent, mate. That's awesome. Really great to hear some of the things that are happening off the field. Sonny, we wish you all the best. We wish the boys all the very best, starting with the game on Sunday against George Cross. And we'll put that little fixture list up again. So just to confirm, under 14s are at 9:30, under 15s at 11:10. Under 16s at 1, under 18s at 3. So if you are planning on coming down to Churchill Reserve this Sunday to take in either the under 23s or the senior game, turn up early. Turn up at 9:30 and watch the future Dinamo champions as they're starting out. And Sonny, like I said, I wish you all the very best. And thank you for coming on Dinamo TV. Such good notice.
And look, just make sure you come down and support. Any Dinamo fans, please come down. It's a big day, and come watch your juniors, and then come and watch your seniors.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree with you there. Sonny, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you
Bye
very much.
bye. Sonny Pegorin, the under 14 boys junior NPL coach. Folks, don't go away. We'll be back very, very shortly. Episodes are passing by thick and fast. Well, the season kicked off last weekend, and one of the innovative things that we're going to be doing at Dinamo this year is we're going to have a Player of the Week award that is going to go to a senior player who has done exceptionally well. Well, this inaugural award, the inaugural Player of the Week award, goes to none other than our goalkeeper. What a sensational effort that was, a sensational display. JASKO KERANOVIC, congratulations and well done on winning the first Dinamo of the Player of the Week award.
Thank you.
Mate, we're going to play a little bit of footage there. This is kind of the closing stages of the game, and it was a tense period. Port Melbourne was peppering our goals, and you pulled off some ripper saves. Take us through those last 10, 15 minutes from your end, JASKO.
It was a game we expected because we had some unexpected players pulled out of the squad. We knew what we were getting into with the game. It was going to be a tough game, but the last 10 minutes was just really hectic. We just tried to fight it out, which is our resilience we always show in every game we play. Everyone knows us, we're being a tough side. We won't let you score past us that easily. It was hectic, but all the boys managed to fight it out in the last 10, and we managed to get a draw, which we would be happy to take. It was definitely a point we would take for sure.
Now, twilight kickoff, the sun was sort of setting low, and it was all sorts of, positions there. Was it difficult to view the ball in any way, or you had a pretty down pat most of the afternoon?
First half, it was fine. I managed to come out a few times for the ball. No issues with the sun, but second half, there was two balls you could see that I probably should have come out for, but the boys had it handled. Definitely, the ball goes in the sun, and it's just a big blurry vision pretty much for me. But,
Now, if we can see the sun there, and the poor commentators, and Steve Curtin, who did a great job there, my colleague from the Football Out West show, he had the sun directly in his eyes. But if we kind of look at the statistics, total shots, Port Melbourne had 19, Dinamo had 5. Of those, 8 were on target for Port Melbourne, only 3 on target for us. So really, it's a case of Port Melbourne. Well, they peppered our goals, but as you said, our defence seemed to stand tall, and led by yourself as well. You did an incredible job. Hence, you won the Player of the Match award. But of those, let's say those 19 shots and 8 shots on target, how many of those would you say actually really, saw your heart stop for a split second?
First half, within maybe 10 to 15 minutes, there was a one-on-one, which I thought, oh, he's beat me here. But yeah, everything was all pretty manageable other than that main ball. That kind of set the tone for the rest of the game. Usually for a keeper, it's getting comfortable, like catching your first ball or coming out for your first cross. For me, that was it. And once I had that under my belt, I just felt instantly comfortable, and I knew that I was going to play well that game. Yeah, my confidence was high. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Now, all right, we're turning our attention now to a team that was, I guess, a young team, a new team. Nick Marinos did very well, I guess, at the end of the day. But now we come up against the reigning champs, Avondale, at home this weekend. Obviously, it's going to be probably a completely different game. How are the boys preparing for this going ahead? Is it similar to any other game, or are you going to prepare in a different type of a way against a different opponent?
We treat everyone like say there's no game the boys treat specifically. I think our main goal is we all have targets and a certain amount of points we want to acquire within the first. We set these goals within a few weeks of the pre-season when we're away on our trip to Bendigo. So we know what we need to do against Avondale. Definitely, we want to get the 3 points. We're at home. It's a no-brainer. We've played them before. All the boys had experience. We know what we need to do. Yeah.
So, mate, congratulations once again on winning the first Dinamo Player of the Match award. Hopefully you won't be winning it again for the rest of the year, which will mean that the boys at the other end of the field are doing all the job well. But nonetheless, it's great to know that we've got such a reliable custodian between the sticks in JASKO Keranovic. Mate, all the very best for the rest of the season, and especially for Sunday's big clash at home, our first home game of the season against the defending champions.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Good on you. JASKO Keranovic, when we recorded that video just moments earlier, it was in the Dinamo change room. So obviously it's like a fortress in there. The Wi-Fi connection is not as good, but nonetheless, I think you were able to get pretty much the picture of what he had to say. Folks, we're going to be back very, very shortly after this break. And that pretty much wraps up episode 5, tonight's episode of DinamoTV. Before we go, just a quick recap of the games being played this Sunday at Churchill Reserve. As we said, all the action kicks off at 9:30 a.m. when Dinamo under-14s take on Caroline Springs George Cross. In the under-15s then continue at 11:10, followed by the under-16s at 1 and the under-18s at 3. All those games are on pitch 3. The under-23s then take over at 12:30 on the main pitch, and they'll be up against Avondale FC. And then it's the big game, the massive one. So please stay around, hang around all day at Churchill Reserve when St Albans take on the reigning champions, Avondale FC, and who this could be their last year in the NPL Victoria competition if the National Second Division kicks off next year. And wouldn't it be great if Dinamo can record a win on Sunday against the reigning champions? That game kicks off at 3 p.m. Before we go, folks, we're not going to do what Robert Jarni, the now former Croatian under-17 coach, did. And we, as Dinamo St Albans Dinamo, we wish our namesake, Dinamo Zagreb, all the very, very best for their UEFA Europa Conference League clash with Real Betis. That's happening in the early hours of tomorrow morning. I think it's about 5 o'clock our time. Big game there for Dinamo Zagreb. So from one Dinamo to another, all the very, very best. Folks, next week we will have a very, very special guest ahead of the big Croatian derby when we take on Dandenong City. That's Sunday week at Churchill Reserve when we host the big sponsors luncheon. But until then, make sure to get yourselves out to Churchill Reserve on Sunday for what should be a super Sunday of soccer. from me, Tonchi Prusats, good night, and thank you for being with us on Dinamo TV.